Hi world, Stephanie here with a quick check-in on two of my favorite subjects. Those two subjects are consciousness and plants, specifically flowers and herbs. And so I know I have not yet been consistent with my videos and my check-ins, and that might be a bit frustrating for some folks. So thank you for your patience with me as friends, teachers, colleagues, and interested viewers. So today I wanted to talk about illumination and flowers, illumination, how we use nature to illuminate our consciousness, and what those two things together mean to me. And those are two of my passions, and no matter how hard I try, I continually am pulled back, drawn back to those two subjects in some way, shape, or form. Nature and psychology, the study of the soul, the study of spirit, the being in spirit. And for some people, this is strange, and for other people, they understand and know the feeling of being passionate about these kinds of subjects. And many of us come to this in different ways, through different means, with plants or without plants, including fungi, which is definitely an excellent being to discuss when discussing illumination. And I'm not avoiding posting because I don't have anything to say or because I don't know my material. Typically, the reason that I don't post consistently is because I have so much to say and so much to share that I often get overwhelmed with where to start. In addition to the fact that the past 11 years of my life have been dominated by motherhood, which is the greatest blessing that I've ever experienced. So I wouldn't change that for a thing. In addition to motherhood, it's also been largely devoted to the practice of counseling and education, surprisingly, which when one is providing that type of deep emotional support for others for extended periods of time, it can lead to vicarious trauma and compassion fatigue, secondary trauma, to name a few. And so throughout, this past year, 2 years, including with COVID, it has also been an interesting and tumultuous time for me. And as I continue to learn and grow, because I strongly believe in growth mindset, which is another really beautiful aspect of illumination, and this idea of healing with nature and evolving with nature as a psychotherapeutic tool, a psycho-spiritual therapeutic tool, which many people have used nature and co-created and co-healed with nature for thousands of years, hence shamanism. And so again, we'll be talking about these subjects both in my videos as well as in my podcast and on Twitter with Illumination. And so here comes Yoda, speaking of consciousness and illumination, which I learned today in doing a little bit of reading that the word Luis, L-O-I-S in Aramaic actually means light. And so again, looking at the, please don't crawl under the desk, Yoda. If he crawls under the desk will shake and everything will fall off. Go lay down. And so illumination, by definition, the action of illuminating or a state of being illuminated. There you go, buddy. Like, lock me here. Stop worrying. Everything is going to be just fine. Bright future. It can also be the act of lighting up, literally with light, and it can also be used, obviously, to describe using things like a light bulb. And that's why when illuminated, we have these light bulb moments. Things that once we could not see or did not know for sure, now suddenly light has been brought to them and we can see. And that can apply to both literally externally as well as to internally, being able to be illuminated, lit up in your consciousness, thus understanding things or having a deeper relationship with something, whether it be a person or a topic or some type of philosophy on life that you previously did not have. And so my quest for the door's gonna shut, for this type of higher consciousness, higher love, this type of illumination is why I began to study psychology in the first place at Indiana University of Pennsylvania so many moons ago, where my dad was also alum, except in the Department of Accounting. And so I chose to give up a career with Oracle when I could have been SQL certified right out of high school, going to Silicon Valley to work in the computer realm with database design and Java and HTML and all that probably, very antiquated stuff. I said, nah, I'm gonna study people. I'm gonna go study psychology, and I would like to know the causes of suffering and how to help alleviate suffering. And so I went into the study of psychology. The study of, to me at the time, was the soul. And that expanded into herbalism, and that expanded into studying nutrition and neuroscience and meditation. And I began studying yoga and meditation when I was 17 because I was seeking this higher consciousness. I was seeking this higher love, both for self and others. I was seeking this illumination and had always experienced a very direct relationship with both energy and through nature. And so this has led me to Sacred Earth Essentials, Vermont Herb Shop, Illumination, and Wild Wellness, and continuing to be on a path of learning for the rest of my life. And again, I am the first to say, maybe not the first, but I am an open book and admit to having struggles with my own aspects of mental health and physical health as well. And all of the great leaders that I am studying and have studied have also had their different struggles and have come through those struggles and have become better versions of themselves. More pure, maybe some may say. But whatever word you use to describe that, it's that process of refinement, that inner alchemy, that soul alchemy that we all have an option or capable of going through, sometimes are pushed through at different points in our life. And this to me is how herbs, how plants, and psychology have always come together, to be able to use nature, to be able to combine these practices of meditation and yoga and psychology, therapy, counseling, shamanism, to combine them together to heal ourselves individually and collectively. And I also really appreciate a lot of other fun methods as well. And so I am here today to talk about those two topics and to pull a couple cards just for fun and check in. So there's this excerpt that I'd like to read from Rosemary Gladstar, the Science and Art of Herbalism course, which is the first official course that I've studied and I'm continuing to study as a herbalist. And it's not the only place that I've studied herbalism. It's not the only teacher that I have, but Rosemary left a very deep imprint on me as a fellow traveler in this lifetime and as a woman and as a healer. And a lot of people have been deeply touched by Rosemary throughout their life. And I'm also continuing to study with other herbalists like Tammy Sweet, who I've studied with over the years, and Deb Soul, and on my own. And by no means do I claim to be a doctor, By no means do I claim to be a master herbalist or even a clinical herbalist. I look forward to and can't wait to go to clinical herbal school. And instead of doing that, I had chose to become a licensed counselor. So that's why I have the school counseling license, the drug and alcohol counselor license, and a certified licensed psychotherapist, finishing up her testing requirements for clinical mental health counseling. So that's where the past 10 years of my life has gone, that and doing cannabis and herbalism literally like at home, and with loved ones. And so I just wanted to read this little part to you from Rosemary about the way of herbs, because I love it. The way of herbs is a deeply profound manner in which to live one's life. Plants are magical beings that transform our globe to a marvelous place of beauty. They transform the breath of spirit so that we may breathe. They give their lifeblood as food that we may flourish. They speak of the wisdom of the ages in the language of flowers, so that our hearts may be nourished and our souls replenished. Choosing to be an herbalist, one who works with the essence of herbs, is to live close to the spirit of life. So being a herbalist is more than just knowing every plant constituent and every molecule in every plant. Yes, the science is imperative and essential to understand as well, but there is a deeper layer to the heart and soul of herbalism that one becomes in tune with, or often is in tune with prior to even knowing that they're in tune with that, where they hear that spirit of life, whether it be through the plants or the wind, or, people often say like the horse whisperer, right? So some of us we all have different gifts, and some of us have that gift of feeling and being tuned into that spirit of life in different ways. For many called to live this way of life, they have heard the voice of the plants speaking to them since an early age. For others, this love and appreciation of the green nation awakened later in life. In each case, the plants soon become powerful teachers, friends, allies, and masterful healers. They awaken ancient memories, inspire dreams, and teach one to walk on the flowering path. There are many roads that lead to being a good herbalist, and many ways to define the art of herbalism. But truth be, herbalism is as ancient as the earth, as old as the first people, interwoven into the mythology of each race. It is a seed implanted in our oldest genetic memory. Thanks. To be an herbalist, one needs to look within to the deep places where the ancients speak.